Hi guys, it's Josh with Heartway Farms, and today we're going to cover water solutions for your farm and off-grid property. All right, so when we bought the farm about 5 years ago, we had a ton of things that came with it that were of great value to us. Water was one of the big ones, and we have a fresh spring on the property here. We have a creek on the property. We even have a well on the property. But one of the things that we found out was that our well didn't keep up with the farming activities. We had animals and irrigation needs, and the recovery rate on the well just wasn't keeping up with those things. So we had to start exploring options, and our first option that we used for years was buckets, and lots of buckets. And that got old. So here at the Homestead, we have water solution needs that we needed to be addressed, and RPS was the company that we came across that had the best answer to our problems. So first of all, for a quick overview, our property is about 25 to 3,000 feet long, and the spring, which is our natural water source, is at the back of the property. Like I said, we have a well, we have creeks and everything else, but getting water to where we needed it was our big problem. One of the solutions was digging a $45,000 to $60,000 well, and that wasn't on the radar for us right now. So we came across RPS, we came up with a solution how to fix this, and this is what we're gonna go over today. So this is the main brains of the unit. This is the RPS Control Unit, and it's got all of your settings and adjustments inside of it, and the hookup and install goes right here on the main pole system. We decided to use a 4.5-inch timber treated pole into a concrete base, and that's where we mounted our 400 watts of solar panels. Our solar panels are set up here in the simple array. There's a gauge on the side of the unit here that shows the adjustments for summer, spring, fall, the different angles that you want for the sun. We prepared our site here by clearing out our south-facing area. So we cut some trees down and we got that all prepped up. The other thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to be in close proximity to our water source. So back over here we have a spring. It was a natural spring that we developed. That spring was an open pit spring, and we went through the process 2 years ago of putting a fin in front of it and securing that water source. So we found out that the spring flows right around 6 gallons per minute, pretty much year round, 48 degrees, a constant flow of water, and it diverted into a waterway here on the property. And we're like, man, this is like 3.5 million gallons of water that we could be taking advantage of and still using it here on the property. So we developed the spring, and we have the catchment system that's over here. So it's a basic cistern setup. It's a food grade bucket that the water from the spring flows into, and then our pump system was modified so that we could slide it right into there, and then we could pump the water from the back of the property up to the top. In this catchment system, the water flows from the spring into the cistern, and then there's also a discharge over valve on the cistern, and that allows any extra water just to continue on to the waterway on the property while the pump is utilizing all of the resources that we need up at the top of the property. So a couple things about the pump. The pump, super heavy duty. It wasn't some light, cheap weight thing. The system came all included with the materials that we needed at the pump site here. It came with there's a pressure switch on top of the pump that senses when we have enough water built up at the top of the property. It also has a low water sensor on it so that if for some reason it overperformed or outdrew the amount of water that we had coming into it, it shuts it off as well. That's back at the main control box. And then number 3, if it doesn't get enough sun to produce the energy for it, it shuts it off at that point in time. So the pump is a slow on, slow off, super heavy duty use, so it can be used for many years. There's one field replacement part that they provide for you if you ever need to replace it, because it is the helical pump versus the centrifugal pump. And that's something that their technical analysis team will go over and figure out what you need for water supply, how far you need to to go with it and all the proper stuff for it. Their customer service has been great. I even accidentally called them one time and hung up, and I got a phone call back. They were like, hey, we saw we missed a call from you. How can we help you out? So we have our solar control unit here with our panels, our pole system. The wires go from there to the pumping system and to the control switch, the pressure control switch, and then it discharges from there up to our main holding tanks on our property. So just to go over real quick, for our hose system that we used a 1-inch supply poly pipeline. Like I said, we got about 3,000 feet of that on the ground. It's 1 inch, it's 160 PSI. And for those having questions about the PSI rating, a quick thing about that is 100 PSI is kind of like your soft, pliable irrigation line. It's a little bit thinner wall and it kinks off really easily. 160 PSI gets a thicker wall on it. It's a little more durable and doesn't kink as easily, but it's still cost effective. That was the big thing there. As you get up into the 200, and I think it goes to 250, it's a lot heavier duty pipe, but it's also a lot more heavy duty on your wallet as well, because it gets pretty expensive at that point in time. So we went with the 160 PSI pipe. It seems like it's going to suit our needs just fine. It's pretty durable. It doesn't kink off real easy, and it's still something that we can work with here at the farm. So let's go do a quick look at what we did over here in the cistern area. All right, so right here is our cistern. Like I said, our spring is up here. It flows into the cistern through the 1.5-inch pipe, comes into the cistern that we have set up here. It's a 35-gallon food grade bucket. We have a 6-inch well fitting on here, and then the T that comes with the RPS system. So the pump slides into here just like it would on your well, and that's something to point out. The RPS system, the off-grid system, can be used on a standard residential well. It can be used on ponds or holding tank situations. It can be used on spring modifications. So pretty much anywhere you have water that you need to get the water from one location to another, they have a system that will meet your needs when it comes to that. Right here then we have our wires that come in here, and just for display purposes, we went ahead and attached the safety line, the low water shutoff line, the main power line, and that goes through your 6-inch cap here, and then our pressure switch right here. So this is actually a reverse pressure switch. Basically what that means is instead of having to get this line and this switch 3,000 feet away, we can do it right here at the source, and as the pressure gets built up in the holding tanks, that control valve or that float valve will shut off, it'll build pressure up, and all of the mechanical controls are here at the pump. That's a huge, huge, huge deal, because you're not trying to run wires and sensors and all those things way far away from the main system. So literally all of the working parts of the brains and everything happens right here at your pump site. If you have animal access to that, they recommend that you fence it off so that the animals can't get in and mess with this area, because anyone who has cows or horses or big animals, they know that they like to rub up against everything and beat everything up. So I don't know if you could hear it, but just as I was sitting here talking, the sun came out a little bit brighter and the speed of the pump actually increased. And that's just because it has more power coming into the unit right there. So it's really neat to see how it functions when the clouds pass over or the sun comes out, how the pump adjusts to that, really gentle up and down. So we have our stainless steel barb connections here, and then that goes into our 160 PSI black 1-inch poly pipe that's coupled onto here. Okay, so that's it for the area back here at the actual main RPS control area with your solar panels, the brains, the unit right there, the control panel unit, and then all of your pumping portion of it here. So we're gonna take a walk up the pasture, and we're gonna show you how we laid out our pipe in the pasture and how we utilize that, and then show you the main holding tanks that we came up with at the top of the property. All right, so along this area here, we rolled out the black poly pipe. We went over our waterway here. Once again, you can see that water's not the problem on our property. We have lots of water, but it's a matter of getting it uphill and in the location that we need to use it. So we use that 160 PSI black poly pipe. We roll it out up the hill here, and that gave us the ability to get the water from the back spring area up to our holding area. So one of the things that we wanted to go over too is how the RPS pump system helped us with saving some money and being able to expand our system. All right, so the pump is run all the way back from the spring to the front of our property, and this is the highest location on our property. And the reason we chose that is because we have gravity working on our side. So We have these IBC totes that we got up here. We got them for a relatively good deal. And the reason that is because holding tanks run about $1 to $1.50 per gallon. So if you have 2,500 gallons, 5,000 gallons, you do the math. We were able to get these for $12 a tank. They're food grade, and we simply network them together. And then we have one of them being filled with the pump from out back, and they're equalizing themselves, and they're all networked together so that we can then redistribute them back out to the garden space, the high tunnel, and the pasture with the animals. So this is a solution for us that we know is budget friendly at the time, but that's the beautiful thing about the RPS system. We have the base unit, we have all of the guts of the machinery back there that are gonna be able to be expanded upon. And those are some other things to think about. If you have a homestead, you have a farm off-grid situation, you have a personal well that you want to be available for use in a grid down situation, RPS Pumps has the solutions for those different setups. They do massive irrigation projects all the way down to smaller homesteading water needs. And that is a huge aspect of their company, that they have the technical analysis that they can do on your property. They have the service that's there to back it up, and the information that will actually supply you with the ability to carry out your project and make it come to fruition. So we have our tanks up here, and then this is going to be an orchard space down here with our trees. We have our high tunnel down here, which is about 100 by 30. So that's a whole other place that needs to get water inside of it. And then we have 7 acres of pasture space out there with the animals that we're moving them around rotationally, and we need to get water to them as well. So we have our main supply system that's being sent back out, or distribution system, with the 1-inch pipe, and then we just tee off of that in a gravity situation right now. And eventually we'd like to upgrade our system where we have a pressurized means of irrigating and using a little bit more volume of water outside of a just gravity situation.
Look at how clean that beautiful spring water is. This is going to be the first year that we don't have to be strategic about using water.
Yeah, hauling buckets. I mean, the kids have been hauling buckets for how long now? 5 years. But my goodness, this is so rewarding. It's like just to have water there to use and not have to worry about that well not working. All right, so that's a quick summary of the RPS system here at our homestead, how we're utilizing it. If you have questions about the RPS system and how it can apply to you with your pumping needs at your off-grid power situations, go ahead and check out the links. We have links provided in the description below. You can go to heartwayfarms.com, and then our links page on there also has a way to get hold of RPS and take you directly to the system that we utilized here at the farm. So the RPS pump system has made our farm, our homestead, it's been a game changer. We have been able to add a garden space and not worry about trying to schedule showers with watering our garden. We've been able to expand our rotational grazing with our animals and actually utilize water on the pasture and not try to incorporate areas of natural water sources. It has given us the ability to really kind of take our homestead to the next level, to lay it out with some future plans in mind, and to really expand the ability of what we're able to do here with the high tunnel, with the garden, with the orchard space, with the animals. I mean, every aspect of our farm, of our homestead, has been upgraded or elevated, and the ability for us to really lay out a plan for the future of how our farm operates, how we produce, and how the RPS pump system it's an integral part of making those dreams come true for our family.